Most teachers would agree that theme is a life lesson or a universal truth that the author believes. And on standardized tests, theme is often a multiple choice question where students are asked which sentence best summarizes the theme of this passage, or what sentence most likely captures the author's theme in this story. What's important to note about the answers students are choosing from is that they're all sentences. None of the choices are love and friendship, or trust, or perseverance through adversity. Those aren't thematic statements. Those are just words or phrases. They are a very important starting point to guide students to identify a theme statement, but in and of themselves, they're not the theme. When teaching students to identify a theme, I like using the steps that middle school teacher Sara Johnson reveals in her YouTube video. I've hyperlinked to her video within the print version of this article, but I want to expound on some of her steps and really point out the genius facets to this instruction. Step 1 asks students to generate a list of topical themes or big ideas that are revealed throughout the text. These big ideas are represented in character choices, actions, and reactions. In fact, a lot of times this list of topics that are relevant are life skills or even personality traits. We want to consider significant parts of the story where characters had to make some choices. This is where those universal themes that some of us have been teaching will fit in. It might be things about love and friendship were learned, or trust, obedience, or rather disobedience was learned in the text. As a class, generate 6, 8, 10 of these topical themes, but again, don't declare them as thematic statements because they're just words and phrases. Then using that list, move into step 2. Provide students this sentence starter. The author believes that, and they're going to complete it using one of the topics from step 1. So what does the author believe about trust or perseverance or disobedience? They're going to finish this sentence starter. What I love about Sara Johnson's recommendation is that it takes the pressure off the students to have learned something. See, I used to say, class, what did you learn after reading this text? And a lot of kids say, nothing. But if I say, what does the author believe about love, friendship, revenge, loss of innocence, whatever the topics are, all of a sudden, it's a little easier for them to finish that sentence. Let me show you a few quick examples. Remember trust as a topical theme we listed in step 1? The author believes that trust is important in order for people to grow deep relationships. Or using the topical theme of perseverance, the author believes that perseverance is good even when an individual does not reach his goal. Or finally, the author believes that disobedience is bad when it puts others at risk. Now, the sentence starter alone isn't necessarily magical. You have to add some things to your instruction because a lot of kids are just going to say that perseverance is good and disobedience is bad, and they're going to be real vague and general. So you want them to explain why perseverance is good, or when trust is important, or for what reason is disobedience not a good thing. This gets them to expound on the sentence and create a more universal truth that is specific to that life skill or topical theme. One other important facet to step 2 is while they're expanding on this sentence starter, they should avoid all specific references to the text itself. Do not mention character names. Do not reference setting details. Nothing about the plot should be mentioned. Remember, it's a universal truth, so that means it's not specific to this text. So don't mention this text. Keep it general. Show students how to use words like an individual, people should, someone can. Keep it broad and generic so it's appropriate for all readers. All right, the hard work is done. Step 3 is pretty easy. Students simply go back and cross off that sentence starter. The author believes that. So now, capitalizing the first word of the sentence, we have 3 thematic statements. I would work on just teaching those 3 steps to generating a thematic statement and not worry about going any further with it. But eventually, I would teach them step 4. We generated a theme sentence in 3 steps, but all inferences are rooted in evidence. So we should be able to add some additional sentences of support. That's step 4. We want students to go back into the text now and reference specific characters, events, actions, details from this text that prove that thematic statement is accurate. Remember, on many standardized tests, theme is assessed in multiple choice. It's a part A, part B kind of setup. Part A, they ask which sentence most likely or best captures the theme of this story. But in part B, it's about textual evidence. They may ask which sentences below best support your choice from part A. But it's not always multiple choice formats. What if it's a constructed response? Their first sentence will be that thematic statement they generated, but now they need to use details from the text to support it. This is when they use those phrases, according to the text, or one place the author shows this is, and they begin 2 or 3 additional sentences with evidence. So there are 3 steps to generating a thematic statement, and a 4th step if you want kids to add evidence. Practice this. In fact, watch Sara Johnson's entire YouTube video because at the end, she gives a fabulous partnered activity that allows kids in a fun way to practice this idea.